One morning, on my run, just before I took my daily run selfie, a memory came to me. You see, I've been thinking about my entrepreneurial journey, and I have been trying to find my story. And running for me has been the best way to allow my mind to flow and really dig deep. And on this morning, an image came to me. I am 6 years old, sitting on a wooden bench in my kitchen, watching my mom stir a pot of yema, a Filipino candy made of milk, sugar, and lots of butter. You see, my mom is a teacher, and making and selling these traditional sweets is one of her many side hustles. I would help lay out the individual cellophane squares, wrap them up, and count them out in bags and deliver them to the teachers who had pre-ordered them at the school where she taught fourth grade. I lived in a small rural town in the Philippines where everyone was an entrepreneur. Farms sold their produce right in front of their house, such as rice, coffee beans, fresh avocados, mangoes, all organic, freshly picked from the trees in their yard. It was like an outdoor Whole Foods. My mom, in her late 20s, early 30s, she ran her own mini store from our home. She bought and sold blankets for profit. She even raised and sold pigs at one point. My mom knew how to create the life she wanted. She always had a plan and went for it. My dad worked abroad for months, even years at a time, so my mom, knowing that raising 6 kids on her own would be difficult, she used her side hustle money to hire help, to help her with the tedious household duties such as cleaning and groceries, laundry. This way, she had the time to do what she wanted to do, and that was to be present for her kids. She put my sisters in piano lessons, some of us in dance. She even led our Girl Scout troop every single year. She was always present in all of our activities, all the while teaching fourth grade as her full time job. And I don't think that she realized the valuable life lessons she was teaching my sisters and me on how to create a life from the little resources she had, with a lot of hard work and all of the ingenuity that she possessed. My mom was an entrepreneur through and through. A few years later, my family and we immigrated to the United States, where we became minorities and now have to juggle between two different cultures. I became sad and confused that this new society made me feel like I had to reject my own culture in order to belong to the new one. I didn't grow up with the messages of do what you love or follow your dreams, none of that. I am now guided by the immigrant mentality, which means strong work ethics and family centered. Hard work is non negotiable because there's no safety net. There's no grandparents to go back home to. There's no institutional wealth. There's no properties from our ancestors to build upon. There is no safety net for first generation immigrants. We start from scratch. So I worked. I worked from the time I was in high school throughout college, and I remember my first job. I worked at the mall, at this little accessory store right next to Macy's, and without any training whatsoever, I was the person responsible to piercing the ears of teens and toddlers and screaming newborns. Not fun. And in college, software, right? Silicon Valley was the place to be. And so I took programming classes. And even though I didn't love it, I stuck with it because it didn't matter whether you loved it or not. The goal was to have a good job, to be successful in order to help the family. But I was miserable, and I was in the software industry for a decade. I'm sitting in a conference room full of software engineers, and we would discuss project plans. I attended and I ran a lot of these meetings, usually really late at night or super early in the mornings, due to working with teams in different time zones. I don't know when or if I slept. But we would talk about features and functionalities, datas and numbers, and more codes and more numbers that the right side of my brain would go into visualizing these data, dancing in my head while the left side of my brain is wandering and wanting to take a sledgehammer to these numbers. And the company had mostly men running the show, and they were amazing. They were geniuses. but I couldn't relate. I just couldn't see myself or anyone there who I aspired to be. And so in my office cubicle, I would sit and I would daydream of being elsewhere. And due to all these mandatory meetings and hard deadlines to meet, I missed a lot of family birthdays, the birth of my nephews, and some horrible blind dates. No regrets there. But the long hours of hard work felt exactly the same from start to finish. The team, we would launch a new product to success, and the team would celebrate. But I wouldn't feel any joy. I just didn't feel like I was contributing to anything meaningful to me. And I know that for many others, building software is their dream because it is an amazing thing. Don't get me wrong. I love all the software that I use. I appreciate it so much. I use it so much. But it wasn't my dream. And at that time, I was earning a good living and I was able to help the family. So you can say that at that time, I have reached my goal. But the thing is, when you reach a goal that is not within your values, the happiness is short lived. It doesn't last. And I craved for what was missing. I craved for a more meaningful life. But the one benefit of starting out in the corporate world was that it afforded me to travel the world for months at a time. And for those of you who love to travel, you know the value that it brings to our overall sense of self when it brings back that child curiosity when we marvel at something we have never seen before. It's a never ending learning experience. And on this particular trip, I got to spend a whole month in Tahiti. And I didn't marvel at a beautiful architecture or a fancy work of art. I was in awe of the people and their lifestyle. I watched them go to work in the morning, then they would come home by noon to spend lunchtime with the family, then they'd go back to work again at 2, and then they would return home to spend dinner time and more time with the family. I didn't see them with big houses or fancy cars. I didn't see anyone carrying luxury handbags or anything in their arms, anything luxury in their arms. But what was apparent in my eyes was that Sunday, Sunday was the same every week. They would gather together and they would prepare a meal and they would share this together and they would spend the entire day just laughing and talking, relaxing, connecting, and bonding with one another. Every Sunday, their life was simple and they were happy. So happy that their happiness was contagious. I was in awe of this lifestyle. This was the life I want to create. Leaving Tahiti, I felt a shift within me, a shift I knew I had to nurture. I had to make a change. 5 years later, I'm sitting in an auditorium on a Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. And here I am a mother of 2 kids. I am a licensed psychotherapist with my own private practice. I am an entrepreneur, and I have full control of my schedule. And if I was still in the corporate world, I would probably be in my cubicle updating spreadsheets or chasing people down for things I need. But instead, I am here, present at my son's kindergarten graduation. I'm ready to take a million pictures and be the mamarazzi mom that I love being. Capturing every milestone, big and small, that's what defines my life. That's what creates my story. You see, my story is a version of a story that we all have within us. It is a story where I chose to redefine my happiness, a story where I chose to step back from the rat race, the job benefits to pursue simplicity. And that simplicity led to my autonomy to be able to follow my passion, to be able to do more of the things that I love, to be able to spend more times with the people that I love and create more memories. And when you love what you do, it opens up even more opportunities, opportunities that are in line with your values. See, redefining your life is knowing that when we have to make these hard decisions in life, such as choosing your major or changing your career, ones that are really hard and even scary, I want you to remember this word: impermanence, that nothing lasts forever, that we and the world around us, we are constantly shifting, we are constantly transforming as each day brings us a whole different experience. It lessens the fear, the worries, and it gives us the power to be able to make a choice based on that given moment of where we are. And as the Buddha says, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. But the most important thing here, as I continue to evolve as an entrepreneur, is that I am showing up. I am showing up not just for myself, not just for the Filipino community, the Asian community, but I am showing up for my kids. And I am teaching them to pursue their dreams, and I am showing them that it is possible. For a woman of color, a first-generation immigrant, a mom, I am showing them that you have the power to create the life you want. And as I sat there, watching my son walk across the stage with that shy little smile of his, I am thinking, this is exactly the reason why I chose entrepreneurship, to take my life from complexity to simplicity. And that one person who inspired me and made me believe that I can create this life was sitting in that auditorium next to me that morning. My mom. My mom is the foundation of where my entrepreneurial journey began. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. My mom's right there.